If you want proof of a disconnect between the Avs amateur and pro staff, look no further than Brandon Saigeon.
Oh! Como has a breakaway.
Saigeon is a bit of an interesting case. The Avs drafted him in the 5th round of 2018 as a 20-year-old, meaning he had passed through the draft twice already without getting picked. And Alan Heppel, the Avs lead scout for the draft, said that he was someone that they had followed for a while and really should have picked the year before. So he was someone that the Avs were certainly interested in for a long time, and when you combine that with the fact that in the 2018 OHL playoffs he scored 18 goals, the Avs took a chance on him. When you draft a 20-year-old, the assumption is that they are going to move into your pro system right away. Not with the Avs, but likely in the AHL with the Eagles, or at minimum in the ECHL with Utah. If you wanted someone that was going to play in the junior leagues or the NCAA or something like that, it would make more sense to draft a younger kid that could continue to develop in those leagues. But clearly, something must have been off here, because after the draft, the Avs went out and signed a bunch of players to play specifically for their AHL team that were not named Brandon Saigeon. In fact, by the end of training camp, Brandon Saigeon didn't even have a contract and was sent back to his junior team to play an overage year in the OHL. This makes pretty much zero sense to me from every angle. The good news is, it didn't seem to faze Saigeon even a little bit. He went back to his team in Hamilton and just destroyed everything. In the first 2 games of the season, Hamilton put 9 goals on the board, and Brandon Saigeon was involved in 7 of them, including all of the 5 in the first game. The guy was a man on a mission. At 6'2", 190 pounds, and being older than most of his competition down there, he was just bigger, stronger, faster than anyone he went up against. His offensive instincts were impeccable, and he was able to use the entire offensive zone effectively, whether it was passing from the half wall, skating in, penetrating through the defense, or even getting down low and working hard to win pucks and score in close. Without getting extremely nitpicky, it's pretty hard to find too many flaws in his game, at least at the CHL level. Scoring came extremely easy for Saigeon all season long, including multiple 10-plus game point streaks, so he had no trouble putting the puck in the net and also rewarding his teammates, particularly with Hamilton Arthur Kaliev, who's a draft eligible this year. They had fantastic chemistry together, and he's a big part of the reason why Kaliev put up 50 goals this season. As an overager, there were expectations of Saigeon to be a leader, and he absolutely was, rewarded with an A on his sweater in Hamilton. He led the charge often for the team and really stepped up in that category. As the season continued, despite Saigeon dragging them tooth and nail to wins, probably more often than they deserved, Hamilton just was not a great team, so he would end up getting traded in December to the Oshawa Generals. Saigeon would see himself go from a top-line role with the Bulldogs down to a more middle 6 role with the Generals. However, he would keep an A on his sweater at the same time. Despite the reduction in opportunity and minutes for Saigeon, it really didn't slow him down this much. Yes, he would score less, but even with Oshawa, he was over a point per game. If we are getting down to things that Saigeon could improve, number 1, I think, is his skating. It's not bad, but you can definitely see that there's a lot more speed that can be had there, particularly in the modern NHL game where skating has become just so important. And number 2 is helping out a bit more in the defensive zone. When Saigeon does go down low and help his defense, he is very strong on the breakout and can do a lot for the team. However, oftentimes you see him flying the zone early before his team even has full possession of the puck. Despite this, he was still a player that was very trusted by his coaches and played in all situations. 5-on-5, top power play unit, and even penalty kill as well. So maybe him spending another year in juniors wasn't all bad, but I do believe that it definitely held him back significantly more than playing pro would have. With a strong Oshawa team, Saigeon put in another strong playoff performance this season. As a more auxiliary piece, we didn't see him approach the 18-goal mark, but he still did score over a point per game in the playoffs as well, including a couple of big goals. I really don't think you could could have expected any more than what he did in the juniors this year. On the season, Saigeon scored 37 goals and 55 assists for 92 points in 68 games, and he also added 16 points in 15 playoff games as well. Based on his season and based on the situation that he was in, I'm going to give him a B- grade. By no fault of his own, that's the highest grade I can possibly give him. He played at A+ levels. However, he just could not do any better because he wasn't in pro where he should have been. To this point, the Avs have completely bungled managing him. There was no reason to pick him if you weren't planning to have him in your AHL team in the first place. His numbers look great, and destroying the OHL is probably great for his confidence, but in learning what he needs to play at a pro level, he really didn't gain that much. And as of the making of this video, the Avs haven't even signed him to a contract yet, which means things are going to get even weirder from here. This is an extremely unique situation for a prospect, because if you're drafted as a first-year draft entry, then you have 2 years of your rights, and if you are 20 and the team doesn't sign you, you go back into the draft. However, with Saigeon, because he was drafted at 20, the Avs still get 2 years of his rights. However, he's going to be too old to play in juniors next season, and he's still not signed to a contract. So, as of this moment, he has nowhere to play. Now, of course, there are other options for him. He can play in the AHL and sign an AHL contract with anyone while the Avs retain his rights, but that just seems incredibly silly. Again, why would you draft this guy to have him play in someone else's AHL system? I don't know what the Avs' plan was with Saigeon, and honestly, I don't even know if they had a plan at all, and every day it seems to look more and more like that's the case. Did Saigeon ever have NHL upside? It might be tough to say yes to that. However, because of the delays in his development from the Avs, we still don't really know what he is at the pro level, and that's a big problem. Again, I don't know what more Saigeon could have done this season, and if that's not good enough for the Avs, then why did they draft him in the first place? That is the end of this player's season video review. Thank you for watching, and as always, a special thank you to all of my contributors on both PayPal and Patreon. I appreciate all of the names you see here on screen so very much, and if you really like content like this, consider throwing a couple of bucks my way down in the description. I'm Rudo3, and Brandon Saigeon highlight links are coming right up.
Avalanche time, come on, grab your friends.